right. Ladies and gentlemen, Sixer Nation, we are back once again. Every Saturday morning, we are back. We had a glimpse of happiness. Yeah, last week was, I think, the first positive episode we did, and it didn't last very long because we're right back to where we came from. Mike Sports Vibes, Tone to Shields, Chalk It Up Sports, and Run It Back Philly. This is Sixers Saturdays. What's going on, guys? How you feeling, man?
Mike, you go first, brother. You go first.
You know, I'm a little under the weather, right? And I said to myself, I got to rock out with my boy Tony Eastwood. You know, if Joel Embiid is going to play hurt, I got to rock out. If Tyrese Maxey came back from that hamstring injury, I got to rock out. Paul George with this big behind knee brace coming back from injury, I got to rock out. So I'm here rocking out, you know what I mean? And I had a whole speech. That we was going, you know what I mean, do something, man. Because, like, it was like, for me, it was like we had a big blockbuster trade, right? Without giving up anything. Because when Joel Embiid is healthy, he's a top 5 player. But the man played a game and a half, and he's hurt again. He's hurt again, y'all. I don't know what to say. And now it's like the man broke his face 3 times. 3 times. This is not boxing. This is not Deontay Wilder. This is not Fury. This is not Mike Tyson in his prime. This is basketball, and the man broke his face once again. I don't know what to say, but it's. I'm not saying the man is soft, but I'm gonna say this, man. We need to find another word besides injury prone. It's
fragile.
It's another word.
Fragile.
Something. Because this man, I don't know. We get our hopes up, and he comes back and shows something, and the man gets hurt once again.
Shout out to Mike for the intro, man. Shout out to Mike for bringing the energy. You could tell he wanted to say that for a while, man.
I thought, you know, Mike came on right prior to the show. He came on and said, "Yeah, I'm a little under the weather. I'm a little sick." I originally thought he lost his voice because he was screaming at the top of his lungs watching that damn game yesterday, right? But then I had to ask myself, right? I'm like, damn, if Mike's sick and he rocking out, maybe Embiid could play through this thing he's experiencing, right? Maybe he get a face mask, whatever it is, right? The old Rick Hamilton thing, you know what I mean? But I just kept asking myself, while I was doing the math and doing the science on this, I just kept asking myself, what the fuck is a sinus fracture? What's a sinus fracture? I've heard of a broken nose. I've heard of a fractured orbital. I've heard of a broken jaw. What the hell is a sinus fracture? Somebody help me understand the science on this. I don't get it. I've never heard of it. It just sounds like something they created. Somebody help me. I don't know what this is.
I think that's just a fancy way of saying broken nose, man. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
But
I'm pretty sure.
Make it sound like something happened to him. Make me feel bad. You know, say he broke his nose. All right. Men break their nose. You know what I'm saying? What's a sinus fracture? That sounds like something that happens at pre-K. But
this is what happens when the league is overrun by, like, you know, nerds and medical professionals and analytics, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, it's called a sinus fracture. All right, list it correctly."
okay, okay, you guys. You know, look, man. Just when we thought we were moving in the right direction with this team, right? I think they were at a point where they won like their 5 of their last 8, right? So they were trending in the direction that we kind of liked, right? Roles were beginning to be defined a little bit. They were beginning to figure out, okay, you know, we're better with this lineup. You know, they were slowly starting to figure some things out, but it was so short-lived. We were duped. Man. I saw that Bulls game, pieces of it, because I think it came on the same. I'm trying to think. No, that's a different game. But I watched that Bulls game, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right, maybe we figured out Joel Embiid had his best game of the year. You know, he was dominant. You know, guys were being aggressive. You know what I mean? And then we get this game against the Pacers, and I guess for me, I'm tired of going into these basketball games questioning if these guys are even interested in playing or not. That's one of the most annoying things about the NBA. I feel like too often we talk about if these guys are up for it tonight, if they're motivated, if they're being aggressive. You know, it's such an annoying proposition. It's such an annoying place to be when you're a fan, right? The last thing I want to question is the effort, the guy's commitment to, you know, being aggressive and just, taking the guys across from them, taking their heads off, right? You know, it's just, I don't know. Eastwood, I need you to set me straight, my man. Maybe I'm being a little emotional right now.
Yeah, my bad. I'm messing with all. I messed up the layout and I can't get it back. Oh well, we're leaving it like this.
You are good.
Yeah, man. Like, Paul George wasn't brought here to be a number one scoring option, technically, right? But I think he was expected to be a veteran leader, and the sense of urgency and the effort and everything starts at the top, and it starts with your veteran leaders. And I just can't figure out how this guy came out here and played like that last night, man. He looked pretty good against the Chicago Bulls. That is, it is the worst defense in the league. And the Chicago Bulls at 1 p.m. on a Sunday, probably hung over from the night before. They didn't care at all. They haven't cared for a long time. So I took that game, probably a little bit too seriously with the outcome. But then, they come out last night and there was just no sense of fight. There was no heart at all. And it starts with guys like Paul George. And I'm not excluding Tyrese Maxey either, man. They both in the first quarter played a very passive style of basketball. Like nobody wanted it. They were just dumping it to Joel every play. He gets hurt and nobody really picked it up, man. And I watched Paul George kind of morph into Ben Simmons at times last night, man. I saw so many drives to the rim from him and like a 360 pass back to the 3-point line. Like, why are you so scared to put the ball up at the rim, dude? I don't know. I don't understand it. It was because the Bulls had nothing to fear defensively. The Pacers, he had Siakam on him. He had Miles Turner in the paint. He had, they have some size and some physicality, and he absolutely backed away from it. Just like, guys that we've watched here for years. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, guys that you knock them around a little bit, you push them around a little bit, they totally fold. For Joel Embiid to go out in the first quarter, first half, and Paul George to finish the game with 12 shot attempts is absolutely ridiculous.
That's unacceptable. That's
Maxey
unacceptable.
Tyrese Maxey too. He also finished the game with 12 shot attempts, or maybe 14, but maybe it was 15 for both of them. I forget what the exact number was, but it wasn't a lot. 15
for Maxey, 12 for Paul George.
Yeah, there you go. And Maxey's not immune to this criticism anymore either. You're 24 years old. You're on a max contract now. It's not you're not this young up and coming player anymore who everyone's like, oh, he's going to develop, he's going to do this. There was excuses for a while because he was 21, 22, and stood out and wasn't what everybody expected as a 21st pick. Now you're a max contract player. You're 24 years old. It's time to show up. It's time to look like you're giving it all out there. And I saw so many times where he just was hesitant, not sure of himself, and ended up taking like a contested mid-range floater with a hand in his face when really, like, where's the sense of just go and urgency and decisiveness? I saw indecisiveness from Paul George and Tyrese Maxey last night. And I think that's my take on it. The Joel Embiid thing, man, I don't know, bro. He has to be like cursed by somebody, because we can say fragile, but like, is his face bone really more fragile than somebody else's face bone? Is his knee, he just gets hit, where if anybody got hit there, that would be a fractured sinus, whatever they called it or whatever. He just seems like he's the one that gets hit there.
Man,
or
get
wherever.
that man some milk, man. Yeah. Get that man some damn milk.
I don't know, man.
Like, what's going on? Mike, what's going on, man?
I don't know, man. It just seemed like he's at the wrong place at the right time. Man, at the right time. He's always getting hurt, man. It's just like, for me, for the first half, it just seemed like they was trying to force feed Joel Embiid in the post. There was no ball movement, and this is why I really want to have like a point guard that is like a floor general. Like, it seemed like it's not flowing. It seemed like there's no ball movement. And then it's like it's hard for them to even get it to Joel Embiid. And then when they finally do, it's like
10 seconds left on the shot clock.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's just like he has to hurry up and rush it. And I just the one thing with Tyrese Maxey that I was just like, wow, like he needs to work on his like facilitating. He had like 5 turnovers in the first half. So it's just like he was trying to force feed Joel and turn the ball over. And it's just like, dude, you like, I don't know if it's like Nick Nurse, if it's his coaching. It's just like, we have to figure out something. You got too much talent. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you got Paul George. Why is it just, I know Joel Embiid's that dude, but like, you got to try something else, man. You got to get the ball moving around. Like, I don't know, man. They waste too much time just dribble, like at the front of the 3-point line and just wasting too much time. And then the time they finally figure out, I'm going to dump it down to Joel Embiid, there's no time left. So I don't know, man. It's just something has to change.
Joel Embiid, it's funny. It seems like it seems like we're watching the same offensive game plan for the past 5 seasons, past 4 seasons, right?
8,
like
7, 8.
Find Joel Embiid on the block, kick it to him. Everybody just stay stationary and hope the defense collapses on him, and then he kicks it out or he attacks. Like, that is such a simple thing to game plan against or game plan for, you know. And he's a black hole. I'm sorry, like Joel Embiid is a black hole, because once he touches the ball, good luck seeing something productive happen after the fact, right? Now, granted, he did have like 5 assists in the game, you know, in the short time he did play last night, but it just seems like whatever he needs to do to get going, it just slows down the offensive flow so much.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like guys get caught ball watching sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The only positive I liked was Joel Embiid. I think he had like 4 assists. He had given some nice passes, but it's just like I understand he just came back, but like y'all got to still play y'all game, and that's why I'm just like about Jared McCain. Like, I feel like everybody still got to play their game. Of course, you got to feed the big fella, but y'all can't forget who y'all is.
They've taken Jared McCain out of his game. They've taken him out of his game.
Like, he might not be the rookie of the year at the rate we going. He coming off the bench. He's not getting into the flow like he was when he was getting the minutes and he was starting. So I don't really know what they're going to do, but something has to change.
I want to talk about it is Nick Nurse, man. He's doing, you know, you're absolutely right, Tony. It is Nick Nurse. He's doing the exact same thing Doc Rivers did. The same thing Brett Brown did, which is actually nothing. which is nothing. They're not doing anything. Me, you, anybody can run this style of offense. Hey, Joel Embiid's so good and so dominant. Give him the ball, make the defense collapse, and then hopefully he can pass out of a double or triple team. And which, by the way, the assist numbers last year, he averaged 5.8, almost 6 assists per game, right? But he had like 25 field goal attempts, which means you're dumping the ball down to him 20 times. Of course you're going to have 6 assists because you're just passing back out of a double team. And if the guy makes the shot, it's an assist. If he doesn't, it's not. I mean, that's not, those assist numbers to me aren't very impressive when you really think about it either. It's such a slow type of game, and today's NBA is the opposite of that. This team has been doing the opposite of trends. They've been opposing the trends of the NBA for like 20 years now. The NBA went really wing heavy and guard heavy in the early 2000s, outside of Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan. It really went like Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. It went Paul Pierce, wing heavy, right? And we do the process and we draft 4 centers in a row, bro. Nobody was even the game hasn't been run around a center forever.
And Eastwood, to your point, right? I could respect being a trendsetter, right? I don't mind people going against the grain if you're being a trendsetter.
If it works.
But when you're going against the grain and what you're doing is ancient and prehistoric in comparison to what's actually happening, and teams aren't even built that way anymore, and the way you're playing is completely detrimental, that's when I have a problem with it. Because again, if you set a trend, if you do something unique, okay, I'm like, okay, no one's done this before. I can roll with the risk. But what you're doing is you're trying to play through a center which hasn't been done in forever. And sure, the Nuggets are an anomaly because but Jokic's skill set is an anomaly. So it's just different. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such a slow style of game, you know, and the NBA now is fast-paced athletes end to end. I bring up the Houston Rockets all the time. They got about 6'10" athletes that run end to end, and then they got Jalen Green, who's 23 years old. The Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics, they're all built that way, you know, and even you can even throw Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown into that like style of end to end player who has size, and the Sixers bring Joel Embiid back, and they're trying to run this ancient style of basketball. It's so slow. It takes up the entire shot clock. And if you don't get a bucket out of that, you know, over the course of a whole game, you can't be wasting 20 seconds to get a shot off when teams are shooting 63s, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're not only trading twos for threes, the time of possession is insane to try to get a 2-point basket. It doesn't make any sense mathematically in today's game. And these are math guys, Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse, but you know, and yeah, Nick Nurse is part of this because there has to be a different strategy than just dump it to Joel and try. And then, you know, even when Andre Drummond is in and Joel's not even active, he kind of runs the same thing. He dumps it down to Andre Drummond. The guy has no offensive game at all. What are we doing?
Look at the assists. Look at the Pacers assists compared to the Sixers yesterday. Look how much assists they have compared to us, man.
That is double. They doubled
it. It's more than double. It's absolutely terrible. Like, we're bricking a lot, man. Like, I don't know what's going on when it comes to our field goal percentage, but it's just like our shots are so difficult. That's why I said I want a true floor general. Like, I want someone that can commit. Like, we need a coach on the dang on floor. And no disrespect to Tyrese, he's not that guy. Jared McCain could be that guy, but Jared McCain, they put him. He's on the bench now. He's coming off the bench. I don't agree with that, but Nick Nurse has got him coming off the bench. So we need a floor general. So I think that's another reason why we're struggling to get easy baskets because, like I said, it just seems like it's so stagnant and they don't know what to do. And that is definitely coaching. And Nick Nurse has to, like I said, man, he's just not the guy, man.
Yeah, if you look at
he ain't the guy.
If you look at those teams that I mentioned, OKC has SGA, right?
Right.
Houston has Fred VanVleet. What an incredible signing that we thought they overpaid at the time, but a veteran floor general type of point guard who can still get a bucket and can shoot a deep three. A modern day floor general point guard, Fred VanVleet.
Jared McCain could be that guy if Nick Nurse take his head out of his fucking ass.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, you got a kid who wants to actually facilitate. You got a kid who actually isn't afraid to get to his bucket. He knows. See, what about the thing about Jared McCain's game that I like so much is not only is he a willing facilitator and knows how to do it, he knows how to get his points within the game.
Right. It's not forced.
It's not forced.
Yeah, Nick Nurse he's not going to do that. That rookie badge that's next to him, you know, whatever on 2K, it says rookie right there. Nick Nurse cannot do that. He won't allow himself to do that. He's going to keep that rookie badge on him for the whole year. He's never going to trust him as that guy. Even if there's the thing is, there's no other guy on the roster that can do it. So you almost have to trust him to do it, but he won't. He would rather play Kyle Lowry. He'd rather act like Tyrese Maxey as a point guard. He'd rather do anything than to trust Jared McCain with the point guard capabilities or the point guard job, the point guard responsibilities. Nick Nurse won't do it. So that is a big problem because it turns out Jared McCain's probably the best player for that job right now, and you have a coach that's not going to do that. But also, how was this roster built? Because nobody expected Jared McCain to be that good. Right. So that means they built the roster basically with no point guards besides Kyle Lowry.
Right. And they signed Reggie Jackson. I don't know why he got even 5 minutes. Like, I don't understand that. I don't know what they're doing. And like,
I would have rather you sign Chris Paul.
I've been saying
if you're gonna
that,
sign
bro.
if you're gonna sign somebody way past his prime, at least it be a legendary point guard who, when he's healthy, is still one of the best ever. You know,
still best. He's still good.
Yeah, that goes back for me to Daryl Morey, man. The guy's a math guy, dude. He doesn't understand athleticism. He doesn't understand size. He doesn't understand speed. He doesn't understand anything that doesn't fit into a math equation. He doesn't think it exists. You know,
You got my
he doesn't.
vote, Jared. You got my vote,
He
Jared.
looks at a guy's career percentages and says, if we plug him in here, the algorithm says this is what's going to happen. That's what he does. I swear to God. And the basketball gods will not allow that. You know, I was telling my girl last night, I'm sure she's tired of hearing this, but I was like, because I don't know, does she really care? You know what I mean? She acts like she cares. Shout out to her.
My wife does the same thing. She cares about everything I talk about, sports related, but she really doesn't.
I was like, listen, this guy was GM of the Houston Rockets. He tried to apply this algorithm, right, to beat the Golden State Warriors. And the math said, if you shoot this many threes with these style of players, you'll win the game. And the basketball gods said, 27 missed threes in a row in the Western Conference Finals. 27. It's an NBA record. It's never going to be broken. That, I swear to God, is the energy from the basketball gods saying the math says it's right, but you can't beat the system with a math equation. 27, because that's just reminding you, yeah, cool math equation, bro. The ball could still maybe not go in the hoop. You know, there's bring you back to reality. That's Daryl Morey, and that's why this roster is built the way it is. Because, you know, he's a math guy, bro.
Yeah, that's why he wanted to keep Tobias Harris a little bit too long, and that's why he wanted to keep Ben Simmons a little too long. So
yeah, he doesn't understand.
Yeah,
the fans were saying this and
They're
that
not good
about
players.
Tobias, and he was like, these people don't know what they're talking about. His percentage here, his efficiency here, his all this stuff. He didn't even understand why Philly fans didn't want Tobias Harris anymore.
You know what you can't measure with an algorithm or an equation? You know what you can't measure? You can't measure heart. You can't really measure skill. You can't really measure commitment or drive and effort. You can't measure all those things that we're lacking right now.
Right.
We're lacking in the intangibles with this team. The intangibles. And I saw somebody say, you got to get rid of Joel Embiid. How? With all due respect, Blue Master, but how? How? Like no, seriously, like he's on a max deal and he has another max deal coming up that hasn't even kicked in yet. He is like Joel Embiid might be the most untradeable superstar in basketball.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Think about that. Let that sink in, Sixers fans. Joel Embiid just may be the most untradeable superstar in basketball.
Listen to this, guys. I was going through this this morning right before we came up here because I knew Ricky Council was the reason they got back in that game last night just from watching it. I remember
he brought them within 5. They were within 5 points.
Here's the exact play-by-play. Speaking of just like athleticism and physicality that this coach and this GM don't seem to believe is real. You know, they were down by 15. Ricky Council comes in the game. Immediately just play after play after play after play of him getting to the line, him going to the rim and maybe missing a layup that Andre Drummond had an offensive rebound on. Like he just created so much with his intensity and the way he attacks the rim and the way he goes from one end to the other. He's like a 6'7" wide receiver, dude. When he gets running, dude, it's like, wow. Especially with how unathletic this team is. You see a guy like that out there, it changed everything. It really did. They were down by 15. Ricky Council's energy brought them within 5. And in the fourth quarter, he missed a 3, or maybe it was the end of the third quarter. There he was still in the game when the fourth quarter started. Another offensive rebound. He had 3 offensive rebounds. He had a block there with 10:55 left in the fourth. And I understand, you know, you got to switch things up or you got to give him a break or something. But when the team's lacking that much energy and he's the one that got it back into 5 and the rest of the team started to feed off of his intensity and energy, leave him out there.
Right.
He took him out when they were down 5 after he missed a 3, put Oubre in the game, and the rest is history. They lost by 14 points. He was the only thing that got them, that brought the energy back into the game and got them back into the game. And, you know, not necessarily his scoring specifically, but just the way he plays. He injected energy into the team. You could see it. And as soon as they took him out, it was over.
You know what's crazy too? Like Nick Nurse is operating, at least from my perspective, he's operating like he has all this time to figure shit out. Like, dog.
Yeah.
Like, the reality is you need wins. You need wins right now. You know, I'm sorry, we're not in a position to we're not in a position for you to just put your ego and say, you know what? Hey, listen, he missed a 3, you know, you're off the court. No. We need wins. If someone is literally providing energy, your team is playing better with this person on the floor. You guys are closing the gap, closing the distance. You have to roll with that for as long as possible. Roll with it until it's not working. You need wins. You need wins. You don't have time to experiment. You don't have time for your ego to be the reason why we lose. Like, because this person's a young player or because they made a young decision, whatever it may be. You need wins right now. Maybe when you get to 500, then you can start, being a little bit more selective about who's on the floor. But right now, you need to have the most productive players on the floor. Whoever, I don't care what your starting lineup is throughout the game. If you find a lineup that's working, you lean on that shit hard.
Yeah, especially when the other lineups aren't working at all. That's the only lineup that was working, and he went away from it, and then they lost the game.
My whole thing is where's the fire at, man? Where's that? Yo, Joel Embiid went down. We still gonna win this game. Where's the heart?
But that's the part that's hard, though.
Where's the
I
heart?
think, Mike. I think that's the difficult part. When you're in a situation where this guy can get hurt at any given moment, and you finally feel like, okay, we're starting to see something, and he gets hurt again. That shit is so deflating.
But Paul George, for example, 35 minutes, you give us 15 points, man. Come on, bro. You're a max player, bro.
Mike, speaking of where's the heart or where's the fight, you know who took credit for that run in the third quarter? Our boy Paul George. The Sixers deserve credit for working their way back into the game without Joel Embiid. The Pacers led by 18. They went on a 17-4 run. Paul George said, you just try to pick up the pieces, and for us, we were down 11 going into that third, so we had to pick it up. We had to find some energy and pick it up.
You ain't pick up nothing, bro. You was picking up bricking for chicken. You ain't pick up a damn thing.
Paul George said they picked it up.
I don't know what he's talking about. But
and Tyrese Maxey said the same thing. Dude, they were giving themselves props after this game for fighting back.
The only player that was really playing with heart was Ricky Council. That was it. Everybody else was just, I don't know what they was doing. They was just on the floor just getting a paycheck. They wasn't playing like they really wanted to win. So, but my whole thing is, why is it that the Sixers, they always try to take the easy way out? You're going to have to draft your players and develop them into stars some of the times. You can't just overpay a player with a big name and think, especially when he's up there and he has injury history, when he's not the same player like he was a few years ago.
Cooking.
Why did they pick up Paul George? It's like, I'd rather us go after Jimmy Butler. Like,
he's cheaper. He'd be cheaper.
Right. I'd rather go after Jimmy Butler than go for Paul George. Or at least we know Jimmy buckets in the playoffs.
Yeah, Jimmy wasn't available.
He wasn't available, but I'm just saying, like, he's available now, but I'm just saying back then he wasn't. But I'm just saying I'd rather them try to go after a caliber player like that with heart. Even though he's a little bit up there in age, we know he's going to bring it. And he's going to make everybody on this team bring it. There's not one player on this team that's going to hold everybody accountable. Not one player.
But
who's the guy?
Yeah,
Mike,
dude, you're
Mike,
right.
This goes back to Eastwood's point a while ago, saying that this team will never, ever fully accept that they need to really rebuild this thing, retool this thing. They would never accept that. They feel like they can keep trying to build this thing through free agency, right? This was actually a problem with the Eagles a couple years ago that they actually fixed, right? Constantly just trying to just go through free agency, overpaying for guys, and finally they've been drafting way better and it's starting to pay off. But back to the Sixers, it's just that you have to commit yourself to the path. And when you're constantly 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you keep trying to have stuff, you keep trying to take shortcuts, like you said, Mike, you will never get where you want to be, right? I said 2 years ago, whatever it was, I wanted to trade Joel Embiid and get as much form as we possibly could while the value was still high. You could have shifted your fortunes quickly if you would have trusted the process, right?
Yeah,
if you trust the process.
Yeah, he wasn't getting rid of his ticket seller, man. There's you can't get an owner to do that, man.
See what I'm saying? Like that is that in and of itself. See, that's how you know they don't. That's how you know they're not. That's how you know this isn't a Sixers town, because at the end of the day, even if the Eagles or the Phillies needed to blow something up or just take a major risk, they're going to do it because you know why? They trust their product. They trust their product.
Well, they also, the owner trusts the GM, you know? Jeffrey Lurie's not making decisions. He knows that Howie Roseman is the guy. Whatever he says, he's going to trust that. You know what I mean? If you look at, like, the Celtics and Danny Ainge, when they built that Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, there were some draft picks in there that nobody saw besides Danny Ainge. Jaylen Brown at number 3 overall in 2016 was crazy because he was a project. And the ownership trusted Danny Ainge, and he would flip players or whatever whenever he wanted. And the Sixers haven't had a GM like that the ownership would say, okay, go ahead and do that.
Because they're not taking a chance on the guy. What they're doing is they keep trying to bring in, it goes for the coach, it goes for the GM. They keep trying to bring in these people that have these so-called resumes, right? And my whole mindset was, and when we first brought in Daryl Morey, I'll keep it 100. I didn't like it at first. And then, we drafted Tyrese Maxey, and that got me excited. But I really didn't like the Daryl Morey hire because my thing is, if he couldn't do it in Houston, what makes you think he could do it here?
He's doing the same thing he did in Houston. All he did was sign big names to try to stuff him next to James Harden, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. He didn't build an actual good roster around James Harden. James Harden is the whole reason that team was ever even anything. And without him, Daryl Morey deserves probably very little credit for the Houston Rockets even being relevant at that time, besides him trading for James Harden. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what has he done? He hasn't done anything. So why are we putting all our eggs in one basket getting Daryl Morey? It's just like...
He did the same thing, man.
It's like, come on, man. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the Sixer organization is doing, but it sucks, man. Like, I had both my feet, like, about to walk in the door. Like, I was all in, bro. I was all in. I was hyped. I said, we back, baby.
Right when he had that cap space and people were talking about, you should use the cap space to actually build a deep roster, go get role players and a deep bench and everything. He was on a press conference and he admitted it. He was saying that mathematically teams with more all-stars win over the course of history. I swear to God, he said this. I was like, he's admitting what his style of GMing is. He goes after big names. He does not care about the Tyrese Halliburtons and the Buddy Hields and these other players that we've been talking about. He was on the radio one time talking about a potential Ben Simmons trade before he traded Ben Simmons. And he said, Sixers fans want me to trade him for a bunch of random guys.
He's the Kyle Schwarber. He's the Kyle Schwarber of GMs.
He called them random guys. Anybody who's not named James Harden was a random guy to him. He doesn't even know who they are. I guarantee you he doesn't watch basketball, bro. He doesn't.
Bro, listen to this. Daryl Morey is the Kyle Schwarber of GMs. And here's what I mean if you don't get the reference. Kyle Schwarber plays for the Phillies. All he can do is hit home runs. He can't hit a single, can't hit a double. He's slow as hell. Like he can't do nothing. All he can do is hit home runs, right? And but so that begs the question: who are you when you're not hitting home runs? What value do you bring when you're not hitting home runs, right? Let's bring it to Daryl Morey. Okay, you want to go for these big swings, this big signing here, this big signing here. But who are you when you have to play small ball? Who are you when you actually have to build something piece by piece, right? He keeps trying to. You know how like you can buy like these tiny houses that are already built. He doesn't want to build anything. He wants to buy a house that are already done. He doesn't want to invest in the foundation. He doesn't want to invest in the studs. He doesn't want to invest in the blueprints and bringing people in that know what they're doing. He wants to constantly take home runs. He wants shit ready made. He doesn't want to sweat. This is how, in my opinion, this is how you expose the good GMs from the bad ones. Guys who legitimately know how to build a roster piece by piece versus guys who are trying to just clear so many issues with one piece.
Yeah.
Right.
And speaking of like a player like Paul George and the fact that Daryl Morey doesn't believe in age, you ever go
doesn't believe in age.
Dude, he doesn't believe in age, man. He doesn't believe in age. You ever go car shopping on one of these websites like Carvana or whatever, right? And it'll give you fair deal, it'll give you great deal, right? And it'll say below market value or whatever, right? And if there's a car that's like 120,000 miles on it, right? But it's a Mercedes whatever class and the price, and it'll say fair deal, Daryl Morey doesn't see the mileage ever. He just sees the brand on the car. He thinks it's a great deal. It doesn't matter, dude. If Paul George was 29, 28, great deal. 34, below market value.
But now we in such a big hole, we can't trade Joel Embiid because, injuries. And then it's just like he's signed Paul George. You know what I mean? So what are we going to do? Like, where do we go from here? Like what do we do?
How many years?
Do you guys think? Go ahead, Tone.
When does Joel Embiid's, and I'm talking about the extension as well, when does it all expire?
A 3-year extension kicks in after this season.
What?
Yeah. He signed a 3-year extension this offseason that has not started yet. Yes.
Hold on, let me see something.
Yeah.
Oh my, hold on, time's out. So, oh my God, we're stuck with this. Okay, listen. I was going to say we're stuck with him until 2028, but he has a player option. He's going to pick that up. dog. We're stuck with this dude until 2029. We're stuck with this dude.
He would pick it up for the money, but if he's
Bro.
unable to play, he's going to have to retire. You can't pick up
Right.
a player option and not be able to play.
Bro,
Joel Embiid's not playing basketball in 2029, bro.
We are stuck with this guy. I'm trying to do the math right now. It's 2024 right now. We're stuck with this guy until my 35th birthday. I'll be 30 this year.
Wait. His 3-year extension doesn't kick in till when?
So listen, it says here he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2029. He'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2029. His 3-year extension doesn't kick in until 2026. 2026.
Yo, everybody look at it. It's on the screen, man. I'm glad you brought this up because I never really go and look at the actual details of it.
We won't be. Our hands won't be clean of this dude until my 35th birthday.
So, wow. His extension only kicks in 2 years from now. What?
This is crazy. I blame.
He's going to be retired before the extension starts.
He might retire after this season, bro.
Oh,
yeah,
he
right,
ain't playing.
Right.
He ain't playing in 27, and 28, and 29. Are we
God.
serious?
Hey, pull up Paul George's real quick too. Pull up Paul George's.
Oh no.
Pull up Paul George's. I gotta see this.
Get worse.
I gotta see this. Yo, this is honestly, this is borderline masochistic. Like we are literally, like we are, and I don't mean to make a light of this, but hey, listen, we're here. We love self-harm. We're cutters. We just do this to ourselves. It's crazy.
Paul George 20 is unrestricted in 28-29. Yep.
Damn. He's another Tobias.
Yo,
Holy wow.
Damn.
dog.
Speaking of Paul George, I wanted to ask you guys, man. He was a minus 29 last night. He had 15 points. I had it up here and then I went to the other page. But anyway, what do you guys think about Philly fans and Paul George? Because I've said this before, but you can't get by doing this in this city. You know, it's a football town, but it's still a big time, basketball, hockey, like they're still very hardcore about their sports. And you can't be a minus 29. You can't go out there and put up 15 points when Joel Embiid went out in the first half and just play the level of the thing that Sixers fans realize. They respect hustle and heart, and they watch it on the court. It's why we always loved TJ McConnell and guys like that. That guy could go 0 for 20, but he was diving on the floor. He was giving you everything every night, and the fans loved it. Mm-hmm. They will boo a guy really quickly if he continues to go to the rim as soft as he went last night and kick it out and refuse to take chances. And how are you going to survive in this city for 4 more years when you're already close to getting booed in the first 20 games, 30 games?
Hey, Eastwood, Mike, as you answer that question, Eastwood, bring this up. Bring this up, man.
Daryl Morey agrees on contract extension through 2028. Daryl Morey isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Josh Harris and the Sixers ownership apparently want him to see through this. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Nick Nurse. But it's the whole thing is gonna come to a crossroads because they want to build a new arena in 2031.
It got approved. It's official. It got approved. It's happening.
Right.
It's happening.
So from a business standpoint, you need something to sell the fans in 2031. You can't open a new arena and the Clippers did it. They let Paul George walk, open a new arena. Kawhi Leonard's out forever. And they're basically acting like Norman Powell's going to lead them somewhere.
But if you do the work now, but listen, if you do the work now the right way, by the time that thing opens, you're going to actually have a product people want to go see.
Exactly. And hopefully there's somebody in an office somewhere saying that to Josh Harris. You can't drag this out until that arena opens. You got to start now if you want a product that people are excited for.
So where do we start though? Like what do you think? Like what are we gonna do? What trades can we possibly make? Like
my bad, Mike. He said, what are we gonna do?
There's nothing we can do right now. Like we're pretty much like screwed. for years. So it's like can we somehow trade Paul George? Can we somehow trade? Like what can we? Why would someone want him after we just signed him to a max? Like we just signed him. It's like you buying a brand new house and then 2 weeks later I want to sell it.
And
what's wrong with the house?
And the jig was already up with Paul George. Everybody around the NBA already kind of talked about him like he didn't care and like he was just a guy. And then the Sixers were the only team that offered him a max contract, and he signed it right away, obviously, because I'm podcast P now. I'm up here in a $20 million house in a podcast studio wearing a Versace sweater doing podcast episodes. You gonna give me another $200 million? No, of course, man. I want to keep living this podcast life that I'm living. Podcast P fam. That's what he says in the intro to his show. Podcast P fam. What?
The damn shame.
Man, they don't care about us, man.
I blame Daryl, man. I blame the ownership. We need new ownership. We need everything new. We need
I want to know who's in Podcast P fam. I said this last night. Like, who's in Podcast P fam? When you look at regular
P, that just sounds stupid.
It sounds like a 14-year-old YouTuber making like hide and seek videos. You know what I mean? We got 10 content creators in a football stadium, and the winner is gonna win $50,000, Mr. Beast. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a teenage girl's like Podcast P fam. Like it
Angel
sounds like
Reese podcast.
Yeah, like come on, dude. Like what are we doing?
Who's in Podcast P fam? No, you know what I mean? Go outside, walk down the street, and just look at people and be like, which one of these people is waking up saying, "I gotta hear what Paul George says today"?
We're fucked.
I can't think of anybody.
We don't.
Who's listening to that?
We're screwed, bro. We're screwed.
He actually thought Reggie Jackson was a good idea. He actually thought Kyle Lowry
No,
was
these
a
were the
good
only
idea.
players. No, he gave all the money to Paul George. These were the only players he could get. They were buyouts. The other teams released them.
right.
They didn't even have any trade value.
Man,
they didn't have any trade value. He went to the island of misfit toys and just picked a couple.
I don't know, man.
That's what he did.
Oh
What about
my
our
God.
G League? Like, we need somebody. We need something different, man. Like, I don't want to see.
All right,
Yo,
before
how much?
we get to
Real quick though, how much do you
Go
think the
ahead.
Lakers were? How much do you think the Lakers were asked for if we wanted to
That's
snag Bronny James? Do you think that? Do you think that?
Well, no, I was gonna say if you were gonna try to unload some of these, it would have to be a team that's desperate and a team that tries to maintain a big time market, like big name type of stuff. You could maybe sell Paul George to LeBron. I mean, he signed Carmelo Anthony back in the day, past his prime, and he tried to get Chris Paul on that team. He signed Russell Westbrook when everybody knew he was, that was all LeBron James. So maybe you could sell Paul George to LeBron James, but it sounds like that's a little too late too, because LeBron just seems like he's probably going to retire at the end of this season, to be honest. Before we get to the super chats, man, I want to one more thing here that I have that was from last night in some press conferences. They asked Andre Drummond if he feels bad for Joel Embiid with all the injuries, and he said, "Nah, man. Do I feel sorry? He's a grown ass man. I got hurt already. Tyrese got hurt already. Guys on the team get hurt. It's just a tough break. Something always happens every time he gets himself going. I'm sure he's fine. He should be back whenever he's ready." But there was no sympathy whatsoever from Andre Drummond, dude.
Good.
He just said,
Good.
"Do I feel sorry? No, he's a grown ass man." He was
Good.
like, "I got hurt.
Let's
Tyrese
go.
got hurt," and I haven't heard a player say that in that context. Like basically, like, why are y'all treating him like a baby? What do you mean? Do I feel sorry?
Right.
This
right.
goes back
Do
to
you think
the
that
culture.
means anything? Do you think that means anything?
Yeah, like here's my thing, right? Our biggest issue is the fact that Embiid. A lot of people have felt like Embiid has been coddled in his organization
His whole career.
his whole career, and hasn't really been held accountable, right? And obviously, hearing it from Andre Drummond, you can put whatever stock you want to put into it, but me, I want somebody to disrupt this shit. I want somebody to, to smack somebody in the face, and say, "Hey, listen, wake the hell up, okay? I don't care about none of that pussyfy shit. Like, listen, all right, it happened. All right, we still got to show up at the end of the day. Feel bad? I got bills to pay. I got a check to earn. I don't feel bad for nobody. You feel what I'm so again, man. Like, people get tired of this stuff too, because at the end of the day, they probably see it. They see the way the organization treats him.
Right.
They see it,
Right.
and sure, your star is going to get treated different than your role player, but they just see that it's beyond just treating him different. It's like almost this lack of accountability aspect, this coddling aspect of it, and guys see through that shit.
Yeah. I really seen it when it was when we had Ben Simmons. Like, that's when I really seen it, when everybody was trying to yell and say, "Yo, he needs to work on his free throws. Guy never improved on his free throw shooting.
Yeah, that
when
was
we was
pathetic,
talking
man.
about when Doc Rivers was
Pathetic.
saying like he doesn't need to shoot a jump shot. Like, what? You don't need to shoot
That
a
was
jump
pathetic.
shot?
When he
You know what I
said
mean?
that,
Mike, that takes me back to your point earlier about Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was, I was going to say the Houston Rockets, right, when they were like building a young roster and stuff, they said we need a veteran who's going to hold people accountable.
Right.
And they went and got Ime Udoka as the coach, first of all, but they went and got Dylan Brooks right off the rip. They said that's,
Right.
and
We
that's
need
the
that.
guy. And Jimmy Butler was our Dylan Brooks, except there was a Ben Simmons thing in the way. And there's
Right.
no way Jimmy Butler was going to sit back and watch. We knew that was going to happen. There was no way he was going to sit back and watch a guy refuse to shoot a basketball and not say anything because ownership was telling him not to say anything. And that's why he was out of there. And then Ben was in Brooklyn for like 2 weeks, and you heard Kyrie Irving yell at him on live TV. He said, "Shoot the fucking ball." I knew Kyrie Irving wasn't going to be able to deal with that shit.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
lost
but yeah.
a real one. We lost a real one in Philly, man, with Jimmy Butler. We lost the real one. We should have kept
Yeah, that's
Those-
it. You
that's-
you could have
those are
built
the
around
moments-
Joel and Paul. You could have built around Joel and Jimmy, and they chose Ben Simmons and Brett Brown over because everybody thought, oh, this guy's just a loudmouth who whatever. The owners were like, I don't want to use a metaphor that I shouldn't use on YouTube, but the inmates are running the asylum type of thing. They were like, we got to control this guy or whatever. And they couldn't handle it. And Jimmy Butler ended up being right, man. He was
whole
like, get me
time.
out of here.
he was
bro.
right. He was right. He saw it through from the beginning. He was only there for what? He wasn't even there long. He saw it.
Half a season, yeah.
He was there for half a
like,
season.
who's
He
in
saw through all of
charge?
it.
Well, remember that interview when he was like, "Who's in charge?" I don't know who's in charge. Like, he didn't even know who was in
Yo,
charge.
oh my God, that was
Like-
crazy.
He said it to Brett Brown in a film study. He
Right.
called him out in like a film study. That was never gonna work, man. Because
Never.
Jimmy was there and he was like, "What is this? What's going on here, bro? This is you guys got to get rid of these boys." And they were like, "Nah, we're gonna get rid of you."
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? You always can go back. Every organization has that moment of like that. Like you mentioned earlier, Eastwood, they're gonna go at some point. They're gonna have to come to a crossroads about what decision they're gonna make beyond Embiid and Paul George, right? But that's a key moment in Sixers lore that was the difference between potentially a championship and where we are now. Like in video games or RPGs, right? Those decision making games.
Yep.
You can take the door to the left, or you can take the door to the right.
Mm-hmm.
You take the door to the left, this will happen. You take the door to the right, this will happen. And even then, you still don't know the long-term repercussions of your decision. You're only thinking in the short term, really.
Right.
They made the wrong decision. They chose the wrong door.
And they kept
And-
Tobias.
They kept Tobias. And let's be honest, they kept Tobias because he played ball. He wasn't a disruptor. You know what I mean? He was quiet. He took his check, game, went home. You know what I mean? We're in
He
a
was
bad place right now.
businessman. He was a yes man. He was.
We're in a
they
bad place right now.
They liked
I'm not-
his
I'm not gonna fix the phone.
professionalism. Professionalism. That's what they liked. When it came down to like games that you needed him to drop 25, couldn't do that. But he was professional. They liked that over the guy that's going to show up.
And that's like when it comes to the draft, if we do happen to draft someone in the top 5 in the next few years, right? I want a wing that is like got that mindset, that it factor that's not going to take no BS from nobody.
Yeah.
I
want all wings, Mike. All wings.
All that, bro.
No
all
flats.
wings. You know what I mean? And like, you know what I mean? I just don't want a player that just has a talent, but he's quiet. He's more of the, I'm going to show you and then you just follow me. Now, I want someone that's going to get in their face and be like, yo, if you don't ball out, you got to get off the team. I want them type of players.
Let me ask you guys, man, for the last segment of the show, let me ask you guys, we'll go around. Going toward the trade deadline, should the 76ers be buyers or sellers? Should they be looking to trade pieces to add something to this team, or should they say this ain't going to help us in the long run because we got too much to fix? And should they be trying to sell at the trade deadline or trying to buy at the trade deadline? Mike, what you think?
I'm selling.
All right, so look, for me, like my heart, they broke my heart too many times, y'all. They broke my heart too many times. So I think I'm going to have to sell. But the problem is, what are you selling and what are you going to get back? Like when you try to sell Joel Embiid, it's not going to happen. You try to get rid of a Paul George, how you going to do that? Like only way, like what Eastwood said earlier, like the Lakers or like a big team that's like right on the verge of not they're like a 500 team. They think they just need that extra oomph, that little extra little something. That's
they can't trade him. They can't trade him at all.
Oh, because we just signed him, right?
I mean, nobody's going to give you anything for those guys on those contracts with how they look so far.
So, like, the only places that you probably can get something back from, we're not trading Jerry McCain. We're not trading Tyrese Maxey. Maybe you can get something for Yabusele. Maybe you can get something for Kelly Oubre, KJ Martin. Nobody's going to want Reggie. No one's going to want Kyle. I honestly, like, I will go in that direction because even, like, me as a delusional Sixer fan, we get on a winning streak. In the back of my head, say we mess around and somehow get the 5th seed or whatever. We go on this crazy win streak if Joel Embiid comes back healthy. I always have in the back of my head Joel Embiid at some point when you least suspect it, when everything is just going great, he's going to get hurt. Or somebody's going to get hurt.
Maybe I should have rephrased it because I don't think trading them is even possible. You know what I mean? So should the Sixers make a major trade at the trade deadline, or should they stay where they're at right now because they're headed towards the top of the draft, and keep all your assets, you know what I mean?
Stay where you're at. I wouldn't I would stay where you're at. I would keep everything. I wouldn't even try to get rid of any first-round picks, second-round picks. The second-round picks are valuable. I didn't know how valuable they were until last season. You giving up 3 first-round picks for like a what did they get? How did they get Alex Caruso? Someone traded for Alex Caruso. It was like
Josh Giddey, because the Chicago Bulls are the dumbest franchise that's ever existed. Dude, they could have got assets for Caruso, and they traded him straight up for Josh Giddey.
I know.
Doesn't make any sense. And now OKC is the number 1 team in the West with a lockdown defender added to the roster by giving up Josh Giddey.
I was salty, bro. I was so mad about that.
The Chicago Bulls are insane, man. They are. But the Sixers are too. What do you think, Tone? Should they stay put and keep just inevitably tanking to the top of the draft, or should they make a move at the trade deadline?
I do like the stay put factor, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. But, if I'm being emotional, right? Everything must go. It's a blockbuster sale. Everything is 80% off. Like, come get it. Come get it. Just take it off my hands. I don't want it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like we're having a garage sale. Listen, anything you like, it's $1 or less. I'm tired, bro. I am tired, man. Like, this team, it's criminal what this organization has done as far as team building. It's criminal.
Yeah.
And when you got stars, you don't hold them accountable, right? As far as nutrition, as far as developing their skill set, right? There was a point in time, you guys might laugh at this. There was a point in time where I felt like Ben Simmons' ceiling was higher than Joel Embiid's. There was a point. There was a point. Hear me out. There was a point. Because I saw everything he brought to the table outside of the shooting aspect. I saw everything he brought to the table. The athleticism, the rebounding, the facilitating, being able to finish at the rim, the size. I mean, he was like, I felt like his ceiling could have been higher if he would have just committed himself to developing his jump shot.
Yeah.
And I felt like his game would have translated better to this version of the NBA than Embiid's in the long term.
Oh, it would have, yeah.
But obviously, Ben Simmons showed us who he was, and we realized that, they paid him in spite of him committing himself to developing a jump shot. And he kept fooling us every offseason, taking jump shots at these fucking runs. And then when the season starts, he's not taking the damn one. And had the nerve to shoot a 3-pointer in the preseason game and make it, and had us thinking, this is what's coming. So
against the Shanghai Sharks or some shit.
Exactly. So again, right? It's although yes, logically they should stay put. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Hopefully you get a top 10 draft pick, right? But emotionally, everything must go.
Yeah, everything. I think the problem is like this. Like one time I live in Hershey, PA. One time the Kmart up there was closing down forever, right? And there was a pool table in there that was $25, bro. It was a full size pool table. It's $500, $600, $700 pool table, right? Wow. $25 because they were like, we got to get this out of here. The store's closed, right? But trading Joel Embiid and Paul George on these contracts, it would be like that pool table for $25. Except it devalues your house every year. You can have this pool table for $25, but you're going to lose equity on your home every year
Eastwood,
for
I
the
love
next
that.
5 years.
I love that. You want to know why?
I don't want that pool table.
No,
I
but
want
listen,
it for free.
it's not
I don't
just
want it for free.
But listen,
You
it's
have to
not
give
just
me-
any pool table. It's not just a regular pool table. It's a leopard print pool table. So, like, where are you going to put that in your house? Where are you going to put it? It's not just your standard pool table. Everyone loves a pool table, right? But it's leopard print. It has white paw prints at the bottom. It has spinners on the side of it. It's just tacky. You can't do nothing with it.
Yeah, you can't. So like I what I'm saying, I think, is that I don't want the Sixers to do anything at the trade deadline because you can't get rid of more assets to try to save a sinking ship. You know what I mean? So what I would love them to do, and I think it's possible, is to stay right where they are because they're delusional enough to think that they can turn this around and fix it. Right. But we see now, Joel's going to be out for, I think somebody said 6 weeks is a recovery time for this broken sinus. Because it's a broken, not just a broken nose, not just like the bone on your nose is broken. Broken sinus means that like internally there's some damage there, and you can't play and risk. Right. You can't play and risk that because you can ruin the nerves. He dealt with this before with the orbital bone. We were like, okay, just put a mask on. No, he's risking like permanently damaging his nasal situation and stuff.
Damn.
So if he's listed out for that long, then it is you're done for because Paul George isn't going to lift you anywhere. And so I just don't want the Sixers to give up more assets. I do not want Daryl Morey to trade the 2028 unprotected Clippers pick that they have because the Clippers are going to be terrible in 2028. So there's another chance to get back to the top of the draft. I want them to stay right where they are and keep believing that they can turn this around and just slowly, because they got, like I said, to make the 6th seed, mathematically, if everybody keeps their same type of winning percentage right now, they would have to go 39 and 21 the rest of the way, or 37 and 21 the rest of the way. And they're not going to do that. They're going to be in the play-in with an injured team full of old guys and get smoked in the first round. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So there's where I'm at with it. Let's get through the super chats here, man. Unless you guys have another take on that.
I'm speechless. Well, please, let's get to the super chats. I'm speechless.
Hey, Rob R, man, thank you for the support. Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent is stinking it up for the Lakers. The Spoelstra effect making them look better than they are. Absolutely. And I think Caleb Martin was an undrafted player, and Gabe Vincent was undrafted. Max Strus was undrafted. You haven't heard his name in a while.
They made it to the finals with a bunch of undrafted guys and Jimmy Butler.
Five undrafted. Duncan Robinson was undrafted, and the other dude, he has a crazy he has like a Spanish name with the dude with the long black hair. I forget his name, man, but he's undrafted too.
Spoelstra's a good coach.
Yeah,
good coach.
Great coach.
Spoelstra effect, man. We got duped. Caleb Martin. At least finally, the Sixers admitted that he has a shoulder impingement, which that makes sense because he can't shoot anymore. So he's Markelle Fultz 2.0.
Vasquez, that's what it was.
Brian said, let's be real, fellas. It's 3 coaches, and you can include Steve Kerr. Joel Embiid is the scheme. You can't run a real offense with him, ISO or nothing. When you watched Joel play good against Serbia in the Olympics, and then in the finals game against France, he got no playing time at all, is because they were playing a fast-paced game, and Steve Kerr said, I can't put him out there. I can't play this type of basketball against this team, or we're going to lose. So it's true, man. Paul said Kyle Lowry is a floor general.
He says that facetiously, of course. Sarcastically.
It's beyond disgusting that this team needs a playmaking defender with size. You know who I'm talking about. I hate this organization. He's talking about a playmaking defender with size. Is he talking about Joel?
I guess, man.
And thank you for being a member of the channel for 32 months. Chris Paul hates Daryl Morey from the Houston Rockets days.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good point.
So he was never.
He wasn't coming. Damn.
He was never coming here anyway, man. Jaime Jaquez. That's who I was thinking of. Thank you for that. Jaime Jaquez. Man. Undrafted player. 5 undrafted players on that team that he took to the finals, man. You guys got any other takes or anything on this team, man? Wow. Just wow. It's wild that you can be happy one day after beating the Chicago Bulls and then feel like we've kind of felt the whole season so far, which is this ain't going to happen.
Pray. Eat, pray, love, stress, eat, do all of it, you guys. Stress, eat, stress, pray, stress, love, do whatever you got to do. It's We're in for a long ride, and it's gonna be. You know, this is like going on a road trip in a car with a bunch of people you don't like. You know what I mean? It's just we're stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck.
I don't know what to say. I don't know, man. I would say I still believe, but I'll be lying if I said that. So I'm not gonna say that. All I gotta say is I just hope the best, man. We're gonna have to pray for the best because I'm tired of losing, man. Went through the process years, now we're going through this. I'm just like, damn, well, can we get something good coming? Can we get a championship?
The thing that those contracts are what makes it. You know, you're not just screwed right now, bro. You're signed like we just looked at until 2029, and you can't even get rid of those. Like I said, you can't get rid of a leopard print pool table. You got to throw in, you know, who's taking that, you know, and so that's what makes it hard because those contracts are gonna, you know, they're not getting healthier. Paul George is 34. You think he's gonna get his knee better? That he's wearing a gigantic knee brace. I've been playing Cyberpunk, and I made a reference last night that.
How was that game, by the way?
Oh, it's amazing, dude.
Cyberpunk.
Absolutely amazing. On PS5.
Isn't Keanu Reeves in that game?
Yeah. You got to play it, man.
that.
It's amazing. Full on RPG, like full on, like conversation choices and all that stuff. But anyway, there's Ripper docs in the game, right? That give people new knees and new arms and weapons in your arms and all this stuff. And they're like, Ripper docs aren't real, bro. These guys aren't getting new knees. They're not getting mechanical joints, bro. This is what they are. And we're all deteriorating slowly. That's what life is. You don't turn that around. There's no Benjamin Button. You can't reverse age. So how's this going to get better?
Is there a way to like facilitate trades between the NBA and WNBA? Like, I'd much rather have Asia Wilson. And I'm just saying.
Hey, if there was, Josh Harris would jump on that immediately because Caitlin Clark would sell 1 billion tickets.
Oh my God!
You know, until she got smoked on the defensive end, but she would get some buckets though.
She'll get some buckets, yeah.
Bro, we are screwed till 2029. Think about that, 2029. Like we don't even know if the world's gonna make it to that point. Like 2029 is so far ahead, bro.
Brian said it, Embiid sold his soul in the motherland for fame and riches. Maxey is paid, laid. Maxey is paid, laid, and his skills fade. He keeps talking about Maxey's girlfriend.
No, listen, you know what's funny? Bryce Young used to be with that same girl, right?
For real?
That was Bryce Young's old girl from the Panthers. Bryce Young ain't with her no more. Now he's starting to play better. Tyrese Maxey with her, he's playing worse. I'm just saying.
Because she's giving him bullshit every day. She's arguing every night. She's like, who that girl on your Snapchat? He's like, I'm trying to concentrate on the game. You're talking about a random chick that hit me. I didn't even respond.
Is that why Ben Simmons was messed up because he was with that girl, Brittany Renner?
Yeah. Well,
Brittany Renner?
Kylie Jenner or Kylie Jenner's sister.
Oh,
it was Kylie Jenner. It was Kylie Jenner.
The Kardashians, man, yeah.
They're soul suckers
and all that.
No pun intended. They're soul suckers. No pun intended.
He loved the fame and this lifestyle more than he ever loved basketball, man. And he got by. He got by because he was so naturally gifted, and you know he was dominating in high school because you're 6'10", 240, and can run like a gazelle. You know, he was just smoking kids in high school. So they were like, oh, this is the next whatever. But then you get to a league where there's guys with that size and you got to take it to the next level. And he was never interested in doing that. But yeah, he was interested in dating celebrity chicks and all this stuff, man. And you don't let that be your downfall. Young kids watching this, don't let that be your downfall, man.
Hey, Travis Hunter, she told you were not her type. Yeah, she told you.
Listen, I'm 38. I've been through a couple different relationships. Let me tell you guys, man, find someone that makes your life easier.
Yes.
Find someone that brings peace. Not this whole every day there's an issue. Every day she's talking about so-and-so looked at you or whatever, bro.
What are we doing tonight? What are we doing tonight?
You just haven't been spending much time with me, and I just feel like I'm just here and I'm not appreciated, and I'm just, what? I'm working. I'm working.
Trying to make this money.
When am I going to meet your mother?
Man, we just met.
Hey, that was a good way to end it, guys. That was a good way to end it, man.
Hey, listen, last thing, man. No one wants a leopard print pool table.
You ain't lying.
All right, boys. Another one in the books. Thanks for coming through. Thanks to everyone in the stream, man. Sixers Saturdays, which is Sixers therapy, which is, you know, we're just here to We're just here to rant and rave about it and get it out of our
Invent.
systems, man. We'll see you on the next one, guys. We out.